Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. There is some new news coming out of the White House with executive order for veterans. This is a big deal because this has actually been an ongoing issue for quite some time, and now there is some real action, and I'm happy to talk about it here because I've actually covered this issue for a while. If you've seen the videos, I don't know, who knows. Anyway, with that, let's jump into it. I want to throw on a special thank you to Dan Ogaro 83. Dan Ogaro, thank you so much for the super comment, super chat thing. I really do appreciate that support very much. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you so much. All right, Dan Ogaro 83. All right, so this is an executive order really targeting in on California, LA specifically, and some back and forth stuff that was going on with the VA there, their campus, and some homeless veteran requests, right? So, I'm going off my memory here. I've done a few videos on this. There's a campus in LA. That campus in LA at the VA was donated land from back in the day, long time ago, donated land for disenfranchised veterans, essentially, from the war. Whether it was, work problems, they couldn't find work, they couldn't, whatever, right? This was just a donation to help veterans, in any capacity, essentially. And that's great. And then it was in the VA's hands. Well, then the VA took portions of the campus and leased it out to non-veteran entities, right? Whatever they are, right? I can't remember. I want to say there was some sort of a sports team that would practice there. Can't remember if it was soccer or baseball or something. But in any case, the VA had these leases out and income generators, I guess, but not serving veterans. A judge stepped in because there were efforts to get some homeless issues for veterans taken care of. Look, you got the land, you got the facilities, you got the place. Let's make some affordable housing here or whatever for these homeless veterans. And the VA kicked and screamed. This is a year and a half ago, and they had to take it to court, went to court. The judge said, look, this land was donated for veterans and for the benefit of veterans, and it's going to be utilized for that. The VA still kicked and screamed. This, again, was a year and a half ago. So now, here we are in, May of 2025. So May 9th of 2025, there is a executive order, and I'm going to read through this with you, and we'll see how good I can get. I just scrolled through it right now, so we'll see. So anyway, so let's jump into this. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. The title here, it says, Keeping Promises to Veterans and Establishing a National Center for Warrior Independence. Okay, by the authority vested in me as President of the as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, Purpose and Policy. Our nation's security, prosperity, and freedom would not be possible without our veterans. True. Many service members paid the ultimate sacrifice. Many others bear visible and invisible wounds from their service. Too many veterans are homeless in America. Each veteran deserves our gratitude. Yet, the federal government has not always treated veterans like the heroes they are. During the previous administration, unaccountable bureaucrats treated them shamefully, failing veterans when they needed help most, and betraying the taxpayers who rightfully expect better. The story of the West Los Angeles Veterans Affairs VA Medical Center is indicative of this failure. More than 100 years ago, Senator John Jones and Arcadia Bandini D. Stearns Baker generously donated hundreds of acres of land that they owned in West Los Angeles on the condition that it be used to house disabled veterans. I mean, come on, right? This is why this story is so irritating to me. It should not have taken an executive order. It should not have taken the courts to get involved and have a judge rule and all of that. It should just have been done, period. Anyway, moving on. So the campus once featured a chapel, billiard hall, 1,000 seat theater, and housed about 6,000 veterans. But the federal government has since allowed this crown jewel of veteran care to deteriorate, you know what I mean, over the last few decades. The Department of Veterans Affairs leased parts of the property to a private school, private companies, and a baseball team of the University of California. Los Angeles, sometimes at significantly below market prices. As of 2024, there were approximately 3,000 homeless veterans in Los Angeles, more than in any other city in the country, and accounting for about 10% of all of America's homeless veterans. Many of these heroes live in squalor in Los Angeles's infamous Skid Row. During my first term, I signed legislation to increase accountability and expand benefits and choices for veterans in accessing care. And my second term, I will build on those efforts. Accountability will return to the department. Veterans around the nation will have more choices in care, benefits, and service. The VA campuses in West Los Angeles will become the National Center for Warrior Independence, with facilities and resources to help our veterans earn back their self-sufficiency. Section 2, establishing the National Center for Warrior Independence. The Secretary of the Veterans Affairs, Secretary, shall take all appropriate action to A. Designate a National Center for Warriors Independence on the West Los Angeles VA campus, in which homeless veterans in the Los Angeles metropolitan area and around the nation can seek and receive the care, benefits, and services to which they are entitled. B. Work with other municipalities and VA facilities to ensure that homeless veterans outside the Los Angeles metropolitan area who want to avail themselves of the National Center for Warrior Independence are provided the means to do so. Outstanding. C. In coordination with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and the heads of any other relevant executive departments or agencies, ensure that funds that may have been spent on housing or other services for illegal aliens are redirected to construct, establish, and maintain this National Center for Warrior Independence. C. All right. Just to throw this out there, I was an accredited veteran service officer, ran a team of accredited reps, all that stuff. Prior to that, I was the director for a nonprofit that helped serve homeless and at risk of becoming homeless veterans through primarily grant funding from the VA through what's called SSVF, which is Supportive Services Veterans Families. So I think that this is an outstanding move, personally. So I'd love to get your thoughts. Let's move on. D, work to restore self-sufficiency and the warrior ethos among homeless veterans through any guidance, requirements, or services needed to ensure that homeless veterans can access housing, receive substance abuse or addiction treatment, and return to productive work and community engagement. And E, within 120 days of the date of this order, present an action plan to the President through the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy to meet these directives and restore the capacity to house up to 6,000 homeless veterans at the National Center for Warrior Independence by January 1st, 2028. Section 3, voucher program. My guess is they're talking about HUD-VASH. They provide what's called vouchers. There's a specific number of them. They're sprinkled throughout the nation, and they're basically Section 8 housing. It's a subsistence for rent. So if your rent is really $2,000 a month, but on paper you can really only qualify for $1,200, they will pick up the difference with an $800 voucher. All right. So Section 3 voucher program. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development shall, in consultation with the Secretary, use vouchers to support homeless veterans in Los Angeles metropolitan area and around the nation with respect to this effort. So we may see a boost in HUD-VASH vouchers. They did make some good changes to the qualifications on HUD-VASH a while back, so that is a good thing as well. Section 4, restoring accountability at the Department of Veterans Affairs. The Secretary shall take the following steps to restore accountability and excellent service at the department. A, take appropriate action against individuals who have committed misconduct, making full use of and accordance with the Department of Veterans Affairs Accountability and Whistleblower Protection Act of 2017, Public Law 115-41. And B, investigate and take steps to rectify the previous administration's decision to rehire and reinstate back pay for employees previously fired for misconduct and direct such savings back toward care, benefits, and services for veterans in accordance with applicable laws. Section 5, providing choices and excellence to veterans. The Secretary shall take steps to increase the excellence of and options for care, benefits, and services for veterans, including A, within 60 days of the date of this order, submitting a report to the President through the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy with a plan to reduce wait times for Veterans Health Care Administration appointments that explores options like expanding office hours, offering weekend appointments, and increasing the use of virtual healthcare options. B, within 30 days of the date of this order, directing a feasible study at the Manchester VA Medical Center, and within 180 days of this order, submitting to the President through the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy an action plan to expand services to support a full-service medical center in New Hampshire, so that it is no longer the only state in the United States without such a center. All right, well, that's good. C, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense, the Director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy, developing a strategy to improve the delivery and quality of the department's healthcare services in a more efficient and effective manner to support veterans. The strategy shall initially prioritize implementation of actions to reduce access times and improve service delivery, to include options for offering treatment to veterans at select military treatment facilities and military beneficiaries at VA facilities with appropriate reimbursement. Section 6, general provisions. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department agency or head or the head thereof, or the functions of the Director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to the budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. B, this order shall be implemented consistent with the applicable law, subject to the availability of appropriations. C, this order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefits, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. The Department of the Veterans Affairs shall provide funding for this order's publication in the Federal Register. All right, that was a lot. The White House, May 9th, 2025. Outstanding stuff, good move. Again, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it should never have had to come to this, but it did, because the hundreds of acres was a donation, and that donation was to be used to house disabled veterans. And it used to, and then it slowly eroded. And here we are. So it's bringing it back full circle to where it should be. Love to get your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.